I'm up in the Pacific Northwest right now, about 50 miles from Seattle. My daughter's getting married this weekend, so we're having a good time. And I'm doing a little bit of editing here. I'm putting together a video that the topic is more about roping and some of the roping techniques. So I'll show you a lot of the video and I'll let you listen to what we're doing. But I want you to pay attention to some of the reasons why we do things the way we're doing. Now, there's so many ways to do the same job, but I'm going to show you one of the ways that we do it. Check out those rhododendrons. Wow.
Really? How big a cut are you going to make?
Do you see where the rope is?
Yeah.
On this side of the rope.
So that piece is going to sweep you.
No?
Okay. Looks like it might hit you.
Nope. Far away from me. Ready?
Ready.
The first thing I want to talk about is communication. The climber must tell the ground person exactly what he's going to be doing, and both of you have got to be in sync. Now, we opted to use a pulley in this given situation rather than just over a crotch because a pulley allows you a little bit more flexibility. We're able to hoist some of the branches back up if they get caught up.
Is that too heavy for you?
It's a little heavier than the last
Is
one.
that heavy for you? There is a trunk right there. You can wrap it around.
Yeah, no, I'm going to try and pull it.
Really
I'm going to try and pull it back up.
Now, that being said, the climber must know the limitations of using a pulley. You don't have any friction, so the branches appear to be much heavier and you have to be a little bit more prepared. In other words, don't make too big of a cut.
The one right there is gonna make less friction on it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Cut slow. Cut slow.
You have to understand the wood that you're working with. Some branches, like pine, will rip all the way to the edges and you have the control of a big hinge. I had him make a cut on this one just from the one side so it would rip, but surprisingly it just ripped off quickly. Now I'm using a technique, it's an old rock climbing technique called a hip belay. It's where you put the rope around your butt and you hold it with the other hand. Here I opted to switch out to just letting the rope run free because it was a smaller branch and I knew I could control it better. Now note how I held the rope tight and used the rope itself to keep the branch from swinging in and hitting Jorge. In this case, Jorge is using the pole saw to bring down a lot of these higher branches because it's pretty flimsy up there and climbing is kind of sketchy. So he's throwing the rope or in some cases using the pole saw to set the rope. And then you pull it down and you can tie, say, a running bowline and pull it back up. Now I know this is going to be a heavier branch, so I am using the hip belay technique. Notice how well it works. I've got the whole weight of my body sitting on the rope to help support it, but I can let it slide. Now I keep looking down at the camera because I'm afraid I'm going to step on it. I just kind of leaned the camera up next to where I was working. Now I have to manage the rope in such a way so that when he makes the cut, it doesn't slide down and hit him. So I can use the rope. Now, good rope work is really an art, and it takes a long time to really understand this procedure. But the communication and understanding between a good groundsperson and the climber is very, very important. If you've got a guy that's new handling the rope and you're up in the tree, you behave very differently.
Okay.
Like I said, this is a much longer video, and I'm going through all the steps that hopefully will be a good tutorial for maybe a new groundsperson, or if you are learning some new techniques yourself. I hope you find this video of value and will share it with others. What I failed to mention earlier is this location. It's between two houses with a fence, and there's windows on either side and a lot of stuff to break. Here I'm switching to leather gloves. Very important when you start getting into heavier stuff and you need it to slide. I was using lighter gloves for most of the rest of the work because it was sufficient, but now I'm getting into the wood and I may have to let it slide. The worst thing you can do is let the rope slide quickly through your hands and burn your hands, so gloves are critical.
Good job.
And we're no longer using the pulley, we're using the ring because he can quickly reset it below his cuts.
Well, I didn't like when you put your hand up there close to the saw. Good.
So I'm coming up to take a leak, and maybe you can bring down that one.
Okay, you coming down?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jorge was kind of tired and I decided to take over, put my spurs on, and I'm chunking stuff down. I want to point out a mistake. Well, maybe not a mistake, because a lot of climbers, especially up in the Pacific Northwest, will go up to the top of a tree with just their flip line. But when you're working with a chainsaw, it's usually a good idea to have your climbing lines set someplace as well. Worst thing that could happen would be you cut into your climbing or your flip line or your climbing line, one or the other, and having a backup is important. And furthermore, having your climbing line with you at all times is good for if you need to lower your saw down, or God forbid you need an aerial rescue, or you just need to get down out of the tree quickly because you hurt yourself. There's so many reasons you should always have your climbing line with you and not work just with your lanyard, or what I call a flip line. So you can see here I've got both my lanyard, flip line, as well as my climbing line around the trunk of the tree. Now, a lot of guys want to get the job done quickly, and they'll take great big pieces, 6 or 8 foot pieces, and have them fall down. But it's such a tight area here. The last thing I want is for one of these pieces to bounce into the fence. So I'm opting to take them in pieces that are easily moved by the ground person. You just put them on the dolly and get them out. And what I'm not showing here is before I went up in the tree, I cut a bunch of little twigs that were about the size of the saw kerf, and I put them in my shirt pocket. So a lot of times I'm cutting through and I'll go a little bit before halfway, and I'll put a little stick in on either side so that when I reach the end of the cut, if it's a heavy piece of wood, it rocks back on it and my saw just slides right out.
Move these first.
Now it's important that the ground worker keeps the other pieces of wood out of the way of the drop zone, because I can see hitting one of these pieces of firewood and having it shear off and slam into the fence. So at this point I opted to get down and just lean the ladder up against the tree to finish it off. I had a couple of short ladders, so it worked out just fine. No problem.